Welcome back for an 8 Caillou challenge. This one's called multiple of index. The instructions aren't very long, so we might as well just go through them together very quickly. You will be provided a list of integers, and we are to return, it says a new array here, but clearly in the method signature it says list of int. So pretend it says return a new list of integers consisting of elements which are multiples of their own index in the input. Again, it's a list. So if you didn't quite follow that, I want you to look at it like this. The left side here is showing what sample input would be, what's being passed in as XS right here. And then this should be the corresponding output. Now, to make sure you understand that, remember, lists or arrays they use what we call zero-based indexing. So this would be index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. So basically what you do is you say, hey, is 22 a multiple of its index, in this case 0? Well, no, 22 is not. 0 would be the only multiple of 0, I guess, if anything. So we move on. And then we say, is -6 a multiple of 1? And it is. Everything, all the integers anyway, are multiples of 1, right? So that's kind of a trivial case, but let's go on to index 2. Clearly 32 is a multiple of 2, right? 32 divided by 2 is 16. That comes out evenly. Then you could do 82 divided by 3, which does not come out evenly. And I know this isn't challenge related, but a little trick I learned when I was a kid in math was that you could add the digits up. And if the sum of those digits wasn't divisible by 3, then the whole number wasn't. So in this case, a plus 2 is 10, and I know 10 isn't an even multiple of 3, so I knew 82 wasn't a multiple of 3 either. Similarly, 9 is not a multiple of 4, right? If you counted by 4s, you'd get 4, 8, 12. You would skip right over 9. That's another way to look at this. And then finally, index 5 is 25. Yes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 is a multiple of 5. So then you see this in the output, right? Imagine we started building a list where the first one we got a hit for was -6, then we hit for 32, and then finally we hit for 25. And if you want to pause and go through these other samples to make sure that they have the right output, you can do that. But I think I explained enough for you to get started here. Go ahead and pause the video. As usual, have a go at this for yourself. Make an honest attempt. Come on back. We'll go over 2 solutions. One's going to be completely rolling our own. Another one, for all you hard chargers out there, I'll give you a sort of extra credit bit that'll show you some advanced techniques.
Bow to your sensei!
So without further ado, let's get solving this with the sort of build our own solution first. Now, again, you notice we're working with lists here, which is great because the big thing that sort of distinguishes a list from an array is that with lists, they're very similar, but we get this idea that they're dynamic. They can grow in size and they can shrink in size, whereas arrays are fixed. If you want to change an array, you actually have to create a new array. So lists work very well here. And if you're wondering why systems collections generic was here, that is because it defines this list type. So list would be a collection, right? Some variables we use are just single items. A list is a collection of whatever type you specify in the generic here. So just adding a little insight, we can get into the solution. So let's go ahead and construct a list that we're going to return. I'll call it multiples. And then we're just going to initialize it. We're going to say new list of integer, like that. Now it's ready to use. You got to make sure you initialize it before you start adding values to it. Then we're going to iterate over the XS collection. I hate this name, so if you want to change the name of that, go ahead. But I will say since I want to use the index value with this, you know, you've seen me in other videos probably where I use for each loops, right? But I like the regular for loop here because it's going to give me that index value I want to work with. So I'll say int I equals 0, I is less than xs.count, I believe it is for a list. And we'll say increment I, and then we'll define some scope for our for loop there. Good. Now, I'll kind of get into this and we'll build out a solution. So you may have started with something like, well, hopefully you know, I guess this comes down to is if you know how to determine if one number is a multiple of another. And we have a really handy way of doing that in programming. We can say if XS is the name of the collection, right? And we index it with these square brackets. That's how we pull elements out. And I'm going to say XSI, right? It's just going to grab the current one. We're going to start at 0, which is going to grab the first element. But whatever one we're looking at, we're going to say if that value, that's a percent symbol, Shift 5 on your keyboard, that is the modulo operator, we call it. So if we say this value, this first value, modulo the index value is equal to 0, that means we are dealing with a multiple. So we would say, I'll explain that in a minute, multiples add XS of I. It means it's valid. And so I know this might look weird if you're new to this, but all it really means is it's very close to doing this, XSI divided by I. But the big difference is that when you use modulo, it gives you the remainder instead of what you're used to. So if you had, 12 divided by 7, right, you can pull 1 7 out of that and you're left with a remainder of 5, right? So whereas this one would give you that 1, because 7 goes into it once, this one is going to give you the 5 because 5's the remainder. So hopefully that makes sense. So now maybe you can see this as saying, hey, when you divide these numbers, if there is no remainder, that means it's a multiple, right? That's a clear way of thinking about it in regular human language. So yeah, modulo, if you didn't know that one. Modulo is very nice here. So this is kind of the right idea. We'll see why this doesn't quite work, but we could do something like this and then return our multiples collection, right? You have to adhere to the contract. I like to think of methods as contracts. So let's just get started by sort of doing this. And of course we failed. Let's get some information. Okay, so here's some good information. Divide by 0 exception. And yeah, like I said, the modulo is performing a division. It's just giving you the remainder. So whenever you're doing division in programming languages, always think about can this value be 0, because that operation's undefined, right? It blows up. So we need to handle that case. Let's handle this very special case. If I equals 0, we'll say. We'll make a special case for this. And then we'll just say else if. If it's not 0, then we can do sort of the general solution. But if it is 0, we said in the front that really I think the only multiple of 0 is 0, right? That's the only way it makes sense. So I'll say if xs of I equals 0, meaning the value in the array or in the list that you're looking at is 0, the first one in this case, and your index is 0, then we're going to call that a multiple. We're going to say multiples add xs of I. Good. And then if it's not 0, like I said, we just basically ignore it. We don't want to include it in our multiples. So something like this might work. We'll try running that. Nice. We hit some green. Let's hit the attempt before we claim victory. And you could go ahead and submit right here. So this was the beginner level explanation. Like I said, if you want to stick around for some extra credit and get a peek into the future, I'll show you how to use LINQ, language integrated query, to sort of solve this in one line. But it's advanced if you think it's going to confuse you and you just want to work through the beginner challenges like this, then you're free to exit here. Thank you. Otherwise, let's show how you can wrap all of this up in a short expression. I'll comment out this solution. Now to use LINQ, maybe you've seen me do this a little bit in other videos too. I'm going to bring in the LINQ library here, and then I can use a method from there called where. So if you go to the docs and you find these methods under enumerable, it'll show you all these things you have at your disposal that you can do with collections. List is a collection, you know, any collection that implements this interface. So we're going to use where, and the way I like to tell people really simply what where is, I just think of it as a filter. So it's going to go over your collection of items one by one in order, and we're going to give it some rules to say whether it should allow that particular element to pass through or not. So you'll see there's two varieties here, and don't get too caught up on this this syntax with the generics in there. I know this looks really intimidating. All it means is that the where method, the first parameter in here, it's an extension method, is just the type that it gets called on. So it's getting called on in IEnumerable. And then these are the actual thing you pass to it in the parentheses of the method. So it'll be a function that takes the type of the collection we're working with and what we'll call a Boolean, a sort of condition, a predicate that says whether to pass that item through or to block it. And then below is just basically the same thing, but you'll see they added not only the element, but you get this int32, which represents the element's index. So in cases like this where we want to work with the index value as well. And if you want to see examples of that, you just scroll down here to the second one. Am I on the second one? Where's the where? No, that's not it. Let me show you one. So yeah, if you've seen me do a lambda expression before, you're probably used to just seeing one parameter. But notice since there's two, they put them in parentheses, and the number represents, you know, whatever, all of these 0, 30, 20, 15, and index automatically gets populated for you with 0, 1, 2, 3. So you get both of those to work with in the body, in your lambda expression body there. And that's why it's able to refer to index and number. So we're going to do something very much like this. In fact, you could copy that and bring it over if you want it. Without making this too much of a LINQ video, let's show you how this could work. So if you wanted to do this in one line like all the cool kids do on Codewars, we're going to say excess where, right? And remember, we have that argument list. This is how, watch my videos on LINQ or ask me questions, and I'll explain to you how these work. But essentially, this is like a parameter list, right? Just in a method. That's what these lambdas are. They're basically like anonymous methods. Just like in our methods, it has a list where you could have one or more parameters in there, right? Same thing here. We have two parameters. Then you use the arrow syntax, and then you go into the body of your method, you know, what would be in the scope of a regular method that you wrote out. So this is going to be, we're going to basically copy this logic here. We're going to do it all using the ternary operator in one line. So maybe you'll learn something about that if you didn't know too. So I'm going to say index. Just like before, I wanted to see if the index was equal to 0. So I'm doing the same thing here. Then you put a question mark. This is almost like asking, you know, if the index is equal to 0, just like we did here. Then you, after the question mark, you put the two things that should happen. The first being if index is equal to 0, and the second one will happen if it's not equal to 0. So we'll say if index equals to 0, the condition then is if the element itself was equal to 0. Remember we said if only 0 was considered a multiple of 0. So that will return true or false for that first index, right? Otherwise, we're going to say the number modulo index, just like we did down here, right? That will determine otherwise if the element should be passed through or not. And then finally note that these, I didn't show you, but these where, these LINQ methods check out what they return. They return an IEnumerable of whatever your type is. The T source is this kind of what they call it in the docs. In our case, it's an integer, right? So remember, when you use these, this is returning an IEnumerable of int. So they have a handy helper where you can just say toList at the end of it. That will convert it into the list type needed for our method. So something like this should work unless I type something incorrectly. We'll find out soon, right? We'll run the test. So far, so good. Let's hit the bigger suite of tests. And we did enough to solve this challenge and get our honor points. So make sure you go ahead and submit that. I'm going to clean mine up. We'll go with the cool kid solution, but either is just fine. If you stuck around for that, kudos to you. Your future's bright. Keep it up. Keep working ahead and looking ahead. Don't feel bad if you didn't understand any of this. Stay with my videos. You're going to see this happen again and again, and it's going to become second nature to you. So, yeah, they're going to make me run this again after I cleaned it up. Then I'll submit. As usual, feel free to look through other people's solutions and learn what you can from everybody, everywhere. Otherwise, you know where to find me if you have questions. As usual, I really appreciate the views, the likes, the subs. Thank you so much. You keep me going. See you in another video.